what really interested me in this is to see how graphic designers represent music. And maybe they're like me, where I can't read or write music, so I'm using found material that has been created to signify music in a graphic way, but it's not necessarily meant to be played. But when you give those to musicians, they will be able to read them and maybe make music out of it. So the oldest work of mine here is from 1996. It's actually, I think, the first graphic score that I've created. And I posted all these blank sheet music and waited to see what happened. And surprisingly, a lot of people wrote music. Not necessarily because they knew how to write music, but because they intervened on the surface and maybe drew or wrote something. But because it's on sheet music and you give it to a musician, they are able to read it as music. So I've been fascinated with onomatopoeias for many years, and I've done several projects, not just graphic scores, but also paintings and prints. And the fact that there are words that can express a sound is quite interesting to me, because they're not really words, they're drawings. They're drawn and integrated into the comic book so that people know what's happening. So if you don't hear a door squeaking when it's being opened, you think the door is open. So certain gestures, certain actions, like a gun being shot, they need a sound effect. And if you don't have the sound effect, it has a different meaning. Onomatopoeias are meant to be seen more than they're meant to be read. And what I like about them is the way they're integrated into the drawing. Another work of mine that deals with onomatopoeias is Zoom Zoom, which is a series of photographs that I've taken through my travels of onomatopoeias used in advertisement or used in everyday life. It's interesting how these sounds, they're so basic and they're used to sell something. I've designed that piece mostly for Shelley Hirsch. She's a vocalist that I've worked with a lot. And the way we work is that I'm on stage with her and I have on my computer all these images. And I select them, and she reacts to them. And based on what she reacts, how she reacts, I will choose another one. And she often tells stories about these photographs, and she reads into it. So it goes beyond the onomatopoeia. I've also used video as a way to give musicians a space to perform. So I call them video scores. The difference with a traditional score or any of these scores is that the audience doesn't necessarily seize what generates the music, but with a video, the audience can see. It gets them involved in the process. They're not just listening passively, but they're trying to find connections between the visual and the music. So that's why I always say I'm not really a composer. I'm just creating an environment in which music can develop. And these scores are just, the seed for something to start. And ultimately, the music is their music. They're the ones who create the music.